Welcome to Getting Started with Voiceover and the iPhone. This recording is produced by TTJ Tech Services of www.ttjtech.biz. I'm Trainer Matt. Welcome. This is a quick start primer tutorial. In this recording session, you'll learn the basics of navigating with the touchscreen using the Voiceover screen reader in iOS on your iPhone. When conducting a training session such as this, it is necessary for us to make some assumptions. We're going to assume that your iPhone has already been set up, or that you are willing to walk through the setup process with Voiceover or with a sighted family member, friend, or coworker. While this session is designed around the iPhone, almost all of the concepts taught can also apply to the iPad. If you need to get started with your iPad, feel free to use this session as well. And remember, we offer the Voiceover In and Out class, the iPad for All Computing class, and other free courses, as well as paid one-on-one training to take you further. Finally, if you will be using a Macintosh, please refer to our Getting Started with Voiceover for Mac OS tutorial session. Let's learn Voiceover together. When you use Voiceover on your iPhone, you will be using the Voiceover cursor to navigate. The basis for this is the idea that a touchscreen is designed in a very easily understood way. You touch something and it activates. If I want to open an app, I touch the icon for that app and it opens. But if I require assistive technology such as a screen reader, it really wouldn't make sense for that same process to work, because I would easily find myself wandering around aimlessly on a touchscreen, activating things I did not intend to activate. Therefore, I need a way to hear what is selected, what item has the focus before I activate it. And there is where the Voiceover cursor comes in. When we touch something on the screen, we are actually selecting that item with the Voiceover cursor, and there will be another way to activate it, which we'll learn shortly. This entire session is based on the premise that there are fundamentals and predictable patterns that we can easily learn, and once we've learned these, we can easily navigate almost any app or website we would choose to navigate. Well, the first step in using Voiceover, of course, is to turn it on. And there are several ways to do this. If you have sighted assistance, you can go to Settings, Accessibility, Voiceover, and switch the toggle to on. Now, if you would prefer to do this without sight or sighted assistance, there are a couple of options. You can certainly use SIRI, your intelligent assistant. I won't say her name because I don't wish to activate it on all of your devices, but you can say her name or say hey and then, that name. And you can say turn on Voiceover. You can also hold in the side button of your iPhone and say turn on Voiceover or turn Voiceover on. You can repeat this and say turn off Voiceover as well. Finally, you can use the accessibility shortcut. Now, the accessibility shortcut is a triple click of the side button. In other words, 3 quick presses of the side button. And when we say the side button, we're talking about the single button on the right side of your iPhone, not the side with the volume buttons, but the other side. 3 quick presses will turn Voiceover on and off if your accessibility shortcut is configured to do so. And this is especially useful if you do share your device with other family members and so on, because anyone can quickly turn VoiceOver on and off that way. They can also do it with Siri as well, but this is very simple, but it must be set up. Now, if you used VoiceOver during the initial setup process, when you first got your iPhone right out of the box, as soon as you turn the phone on, you can triple click that side button and it will turn VoiceOver on so that you can do the setup process independently. And if you do that, it will automatically set the accessibility shortcut to VoiceOver so that in the future, anytime you triple click that side button, it will turn VoiceOver on or off. However, if you did not do that during setup, it will now have to be configured manually by going to Settings, Accessibility, General, and then Accessibility Shortcut, and you can set it to VoiceOver. Now that we have VoiceOver on, let's get started. The first thing we'll do is unlock our phone. And depending on the settings of our phone, we can simply lift up our phone or tap on the screen to wake it up. But we will hold the phone a little bit closer than an arm's length away from our bodies to actually use Face ID to unlock the phone. If you've not set up Face ID yet, you can do that after you learn how to use VoiceOver. You can enter your passcode if you have one. That's another option. But know that when we do this, we will still be on the lock screen, but the phone will be unlocked. If touching the screen or raising the phone up does not cause it to wake up, you can also press the side button quickly to do so. So let's go ahead and demonstrate what this is going to sound like.
2:27 p.m.
And it's already unlocked. I can tap on my screen.
Previous track, play, next track, AirPlay audio, show notifications, button, flashlight, off, button, camera, button.
And how am I hearing those different things? Well, I'm simply swiping one finger on the screen, and I'll describe that to you more in a moment. But first, know that we're on the lock screen right now. The phone is unlocked because I held it up, near my face.
2:28.
It made that little unlock sound, so you know that as well. And we know that it will go back to sleep in a moment, so we'll have to do that again. But we also know that the lock screen includes our notifications, our flashlight, camera quick access, perhaps any widgets. Widgets are little bits of timely information. I've got the weather and the calendar.
2:28. Weather, 85 degrees, mostly cloudy, high of 85 degrees, low of 68 degrees. Calendar, next event, 5 p.m.
So I've got the calendar and the weather on my lock screen, and
Amber, cooking complication sample, image, and illustration of a green mug.
a cooking app right on my lock screen as well. You may also see live activities on your lock screen. If there is a sports game that you follow, the various sports teams, their scores will show up on the lock screen. Maybe a DoorDash order that you're waiting for some food delivery, and various other kinds of things. Turn-by-turn directions, timers, things of that nature can show up on the lock screen as well. When we are ready to go home, we need to perform the go home gesture. Now that gesture will take us from the lock screen to the home screen where all of our apps are located. In order to perform that gesture, you place one finger at the very bottom of the screen. And if VoiceOver's on, you will hear what I like to call a little blip sound. It's just a little boop sound like that. You'll hear it in a moment. I'll demonstrate it. As soon as you hear that sound, you keep your finger held down. You don't lift it up, but you slide it up the screen until you hear the second little blip sound, and then you can lift your finger and you're home. There is even a third blip, but we're not going to go to that just yet. We're going to go only to the second blip. That second blip is also going to be accompanied by a little feeling as if your phone is tapping you. We call that a haptic prompt. So you'll feel the haptic feedback and you'll hear the second blip sound. Let's unlock the phone again.
2:30 p.m.
And let's now touch the bottom of the screen. You'll hear the little blip.
While
Whoops, and then I also touched something else after I did that. It was going to tell me that I'm in Do Not Disturb right now because I am making a recording. So let's just show the notifications, make sure I didn't miss anything quickly.
Do not disturb. Infinity button.
Okay, no, that's okay. Again, if
Activate to expand.
and these notifications, it says activate to expand. We'll learn how to activate soon. But this little blip sound, that little blip, you then slide your finger up to the second blip. Here we go. Now we're home.
Dock. Music.
We happened
Double tap to open.
to land on the dock. The dock is the bottom row of 4 icons across the bottom of the screen. It's the same across all home screen pages. It is persistent. But your home screen is set up in pages. Each page has different apps located on the middle of the screen, kind of in a grid, rows and columns. So I can find any of these. I can just touch anywhere on the screen. A touch is a one-finger tap. Single finger, just tap the screen lightly.
Tips.
I landed on
Double tap to open.
an app called Tips.
Utilities folder. Apple Store. Clips. GarageBand.
Now-
37 new items.
Okay,
Double tap to open.
how am I getting those different icons? I touched once, and I landed on something.
Support.
Okay.
Double tap to open.
The next thing we can do is we can learn to swipe. A swipe is just a one-finger, quick motion to the left or to the right. We can also swipe up or down, but right now we're only going to go left and right. Some people also call this a flick gesture. We'll call it swipe. Some people try to say a flick is up and down, a swipe is left and right, or vice versa. No, they're interchangeable. You can use either term. I just prefer swipe. I think it's a better indication. When you swipe, you put your finger down and immediately move it. Don't leave your finger resting because you'll inadvertently tap something else. Watch. If I lay my finger down,
Support. Keynote.
see, I'm touching things. But if I swipe, I just put it down and quickly move it from left to right to go forward to the next element, or from right to left to go back to the previous element. Let's go to the right.
Numbers. Pages. iMovie.
And that time you heard
Double tap to open.
an extra little sound. That means we went to the next row of icons. Let's keep going to the right.
Support. Texas Hold'em. Yelp. Open table.
And we moved again.
Double tap to open.
So we can assume there are 4 icons in each row. We can swipe back to the left with one finger.
Yelp.
Back
16 new items.
Wraps around to the previous row.
Texas Hold. Support. iMovie. Pages. Numbers. Keynote. GarageBand.
So-
37 new items.
And that has a badge
Double tap
of
to
37 items. There's probably some instruments it wants me to download or some updates to sounds. But basically, I can know, based on what I heard, the wrapping around, that GarageBand is the first app in a particular row. So if I touch on the left-hand side, I'm going to find that.
Tips.
There,
GarageBand.
There it is.
30 GarageBand.
far left in one of the rows. Below that was going to be, what was it, support?
iMovie.
Oh, no, iMovie.
Garage. Keynote.
No.
iMovie. Open table.
Open table, yeah, okay. So that's, you can touch to explore, or you can swipe left and right to move from item to item on the home screen, or really on any screen. It's a great way to learn to explore new apps and to navigate quickly. Now, the home screen has many icons, and there are many pages depending on how many apps you have installed. I happen to have 8 pages of apps. The very last icon before you get to the dock, that bottom row, is the page selector, and I'll let you hear what that sounds like.
Search. Page 2 of 8. Adjustable. Activate to open Spotlight. Swipe up or down with one finger to adjust the value.
Okay, there's a lot of information there we just heard. You can you can activate to open Spotlight. How do we activate? Well, we haven't learned that yet. I almost said it, but I'm going to say it in a second.
Summary.
And I got a notification. If you want to hear that, you touch the upper left of the screen.
Notification. Mail. Summary. Olive Garden email with menu. Order now.
Okay, I got a message from the Olive Garden.
Files.
It went away. I could have done something. I'll tell you how to work with it later. But basically, we can double tap to activate anything. So if I wanted to open that notification and read the email, I would have double tapped. Now, a double tap is a tap real quick with one finger. A single finger double tap really quickly. Just 2 light taps, and that will activate anything. It would have opened that email in the Mail app. When I said we can activate the page selector, you heard that?
Search.
Listen.
Page 2 of 8.
Listen again.
Adjustable.
Listen again.
Activate to open Spotlight.
Activate is a double tap. Activate is always a double tap. It will open an app. It will insert a character if you're on the on-screen keyboard. It will click a link. It will press a button. Always double tap to activate. And it said on the page selector, activate to open Spotlight. Now, Spotlight is a search feature. And if you want to activate it, you double tap. Once you're in something, you can always use the go home gesture we learned earlier to go back home. This also is a slider. It's an adjustable item. I can swipe up or down with one finger to change the page. Because I'm on the page selector, it says I'm on page 2 of 8. If I swipe up with one finger, I'm going to go to the next page.
Page 3 of 8. Page 4 of 8. Page 5 of 8.
And each page has different icons, different apps. If I want to go back down, I swipe down with one finger repeatedly.
Page 4, page 3, page 2 of 8, page 1 of 8.
Now we're on page 1, and that's the first page of apps. Now I will also say when you're on the home screen itself, not the page selector, but just in the middle of the screen or somewhere.
Mail, 100 clock. Reminders, 1 task due today.
Okay.
Double tap to open.
And you hear that, double tap to open. That's how you activate, remember? But also, I can do a 3-finger swipe to the left to go to the next page. Instead of having to find that page selector, I can just do this, 3 fingers from right to left.
Page 2 of 8, Apple page 3 of 8, Wikipedia.
And then
Double tap to open.
3 fingers to the right, from left to right, to go back to the previous page.
Page 2 of 8. Home, page 1 of 8, photos, featured photo, image.
And this page also has widgets, again, like the lock screen. I have a photos widget. I have a bunch of different widgets along with my apps. But if I open an app,
Notes. Double tap to open.
we'll demonstrate the double tap now. Double tap gesture on the Notes app will open it.
Notes, folders, back button.
There's always a back button in the left of this app. Oftentimes, I can touch the middle.
VO 2024 announcement. Previous 7 days.
I can swipe to the left or to the right. Same kinds of things. And when I'm ready to go home, that slide up from the bottom gesture brings me home.
Notes.
Now,
Wallet.
I'm back on the home screen. I can also quickly get back to my recent apps by using the app switcher. Now that is very similar to the home gesture, except you keep swiping up even farther, because remember I told you there is a third blip. It will open the app switcher if you go to the third blip instead of the second. It sounds like this.
App switcher. Notes. Active.
And I can
Swipe up with 3 fingers to close the app. Swipe up or down to select a custom action. Then double tap to activate.
You already heard a little gesture, 3-finger swipe to close the app, but if I want to go back into it, I just double tap it with 1 finger to activate.
Notes. Folders.
And again, I can explore by touch. Let's see what's on the bottom right of the screen here in the Notes app.
Toolbar. New note. Button.
A toolbar and the new note button.
Double tap to compose a new note.
What's at the top right?
Folder actions. Button.
Okay, what's at the top left?
Folders. Back button.
You get the idea. And I can touch the middle of the screen. I can swipe left and right. And again, when I'm ready to go home, I just do the go home gesture.
Photos. Featured photo.
All right.
Podcast.
We've learned about the home screen, the page selector, and the dock. The dock has several items on it. It always has 4 on the iPhone. And on my iPhone, they are phone, Safari, messages, and mail.
Dock. Phone. Safari. Messages. 2 unread messages.
Just swiping to the right.
Music.
And
Double tap to open.
that's how we find those things. And then if we want to open any of these, of course, we can double tap on one of them, like the phone app, for example.
Phone.
And
42 white. Phone. Lists. Back button.
again, there's a back button in the upper left, starting to see that predictable pattern idea. This is a tabbed app. That means it has a tab bar across the bottom. You can have tabbed apps. You can have list apps. On the iPad, you can have sidebar apps. But there are patterns you will learn. And this app has tabs across the bottom. Each tab changes what's on the rest of the screen. We have 5 tabs across the bottom from left to right. If I touch the bottom left of the phone here,
Tab bar. Favorites. Tab. 1 of 5.
swipe right,
Recents. Selected. Contacts. Keypad. Tab. Voicemail. 46
and
items.
what happens is
5 of 5.
you actually heard that it said selected on the contacts tab. That's the one that's currently selected, and that means the rest of my screen has my iPhone contacts from iCloud and so on, so that I can call them or message them or whatever I want to do. If I want to select a different tab, I double tap it, like recents, voicemail, keypad for the dial pad, what have you. All right, let's go home again.
Dock. Music.
There is something else to learn about on the home screen, and it really is not limited to just the home screen, but it is still important to talk about, and it is the status bar, and you can only get to it by touch. I recommend starting at the very top left of the screen to touch the status bar.
2:40 p.m. Status bar item. Swipe
And
down.
I'll press 2 fingers on the screen quickly to stop the speech there. If we swipe to the right, we're going to hear what else is on the status bar.
Dynamic island. Empty. cellular, 3 of 4 bars, signal, home dash up 67% battery power, not charging, 60.
And that's it. Now, the things that are, the items that are on your status bar will change depending on a lot of factors. Right now, the dynamic island is empty. Sometimes that will contain information just like the live activities, the sports scores, the food orders, things of that nature. And if you have something in the dynamic island, you can touch up above the status bar, the very top middle of the phone, to find it. But right now it's empty, and so there are, my cellular signal, my Wi-Fi, and the time of day and the battery and so on. So that's the status bar, and we also can quickly do a couple of other things, whether we're on the home screen or in different apps. If we use the concept of the one finger slide gesture, remember we learned that the go home gesture was place a finger at the bottom and slide up. Well, we can also do the exact opposite. We can place a finger at the top. We're going to hear the same blip. Slide down to the second blip, and we've got Control Center. I'll do it from the top right corner.
Control Center, airplane mode, switched button, off.
Now, these are...
Double tap and hold to show more controls. Double tap to toggle setting. Actions available.
These are buttons. That's a toggle. You can double tap it. But we have all kinds of things in the Control Center. Our Wi-Fi.
AirDrop, Wi-Fi, cellular data, Bluetooth, personal hotspot, VPN, switched button, selected, AirPlay audio, iPhone, green rocket audio, previous track, play, next track, screen mirroring, button, brightness, 44%,
and
adjustable.
That's a slider again. That's where we use one finger up or down. So if the brightness is, it says at 44%. If I want to increase it, I swipe up with one finger.
64%.
And I can decrease it by swiping down with one finger as many times as I choose to.
34%.
And then I can continue to swipe left and right, double tap anything that I want. You also heard another, I'm going to get out of that with the home gesture.
Music.
You also heard another gesture there. It said double tap and hold for additional options or something of that nature. That is referred to often as the long press gesture, and it's a very important gesture you're going to want to learn because it's the context menu option. It gives you additional choices, and to long press without VoiceOver, you just tap and hold on the screen. With VoiceOver, we have to double tap and hold. So if I want to double tap and hold, for example, I can demonstrate that on one of these home screen app icons.
Contacts. Double tap to open.
Let's long press, double tap and hold.
No, apps or
Whoops,
notes.
Okay, let's use...
Weather.
We were going to use contacts, right? Okay, let's double tap and hold on contacts.
Create new contact. Button. App icon. Dimmed. Small widget. Button. Edit home screen. Remove app. Button. Dismiss context menu. Button.
And we'll do that. But you saw that there were
Contact.
different items, different options there because that was the long press. And so it gave me context options. And I can go to another page
Page 2, Keynote,
and I can do the
iMovie.
same thing. Like
GarageBand. I'm open table.
open table, I can long press, double tap, and hold. If you're not comfortable with double tap and hold, you can also triple tap. 3 quick taps.
Remove app. Require Face ID. Share app. Edit home screen. App icon. Small medium-sized widget. Large widget. Saved restaurants. Near me now. Dismiss context menu.
Okay, so you can see the options are different. They're contextual, and that's the long press gesture. We're going to want to remember that gesture. Now back to Control Center for a moment. It's where we find common iPhone controls. You can go back to that again.
Control Center. Airplane mode.
We land on the airplane mode icon, which is technically the first control, but it's not really the first item. If we swipe to the left, we're going to see
66% alarm set. Home dash F. Xfinity Mobile. Cellular. 3 of 4 bars. Dynamic island. Power. Button.
the power button, which allows us to quickly shut down our iPhone and other things.
Add controls. Button.
And the Add Controls button, where we can add and edit what's in the control center. We can touch randomly here.
Pin my watch. Button.
Kind of the middle or the lower half of the
Double
screen.
tap and hold to expand.
To-
Actions available.
Get back to our, control center. And then the other thing we have here is we have multiple pages in our control center. Now you access these pages with a 3-finger swipe up or down. Let's try that.
Page 2 of 4. Now playing.
Swipe it.
iPhone.
I'm
Green.
swiping up with 3 fingers.
Page 3 garage. Main garage door. No. Page 4 of 4. Connectivity. Airplane mode.
And again, 3 fingers down to go back.
Page 3 of 4. Home. Page 2 of 4. Now playing. Page 1 of 4. Favorites.
Now.
Airplane mode.
Okay.
Freeform.
Back home. So we've learned another important gesture, the 3-finger scroll gesture. You can scroll to the left and to the right with 3 fingers, and you can scroll up and down with 3 fingers. Normally, the generally accepted practice is that when you want to turn the page or change pages, such as the pages of a book or even the pages of your home screen, you swipe left to right or right to left with 3 fingers. And when you want to scroll on a long page, such as in a document, maybe a Pages document or a website, you 3-finger swipe up or down. The exception to that is the Control Center, though, because that you're technically changing pages, but you are going to go up and down in that one. But normally, turn the page with 3 fingers to the left or to the right, and scroll on a page with the 3 fingers up or down. All right, so we've learned about the home screen, the dock, the Control Center. If we swipe down farther, just like you can swipe up farther to go to App Switcher, swipe down farther from the top and you get your notifications.
Notification Center. 246 XFINITY. Grouped. Summary. Multiple motion detected by front doorbell. 16 minutes ago. Front doorbell. Button.
Now the
Activate to expand.
Activate to expand. Anytime that you hear a collapsed stack or a group or anything of notifications, you can double tap to expand it. I'll get out of that. Also, whether it's Notification Center, whether it's the lock screen, or even if a notification pops up as it did for me a few minutes ago while you're using your iPhone, it is very important to know that notifications are actionable. Now, what that means is that I can take custom actions on any notification that I wish to do so. So, in other words, if, for example, I get a reminder to water the plants, I can choose to mark that reminder as completed. I've already done it. Or maybe remind me again in an hour. I'm eating dinner right now, but I want to know in 1 hour that I need to water those plants. How do I get to those custom actions? Remember the long press gesture? The double tap and hold. You tap and hold. Double tap and hold brings up your context menu with those action items. So you can long press on notifications. Very useful to long press when a notification appears. And I'll demonstrate that from Notification Center.
Notification accept vertical flashlight.
See?
YouTube mail.
So I can find
clear.
something.
Messages 9 minutes
Well, here's
ago.
a message I got. Okay, well, we could use any of these,
YouTube,
really.
News,
Here's news.
Summary.
Okay.
Otani's MVP news. Grouped. Summary.
First, I'll expand the notification
People.
group.
News. Group. News. Tuesday. News. Tuesday. News. Yesterday. News.
See?
Yes. News. 20. Clear.
Now
news.
I have,
26.
I can clear the notification. I'm just swiping left and right, by the way. Now I can double tap.
Signing.
I can double tap on this news alert to open the news app and read the article, but I can also long press on it. And I get choices now.
Preview, read story, save for later, button, dismiss context menu.
So I can save it, I can dismiss it. So again, that is the long press on any notification, the double tap and hold, and that's a way to quickly get your notification actions. Now we'd like to talk about the rotor. The VoiceOver rotor, ROTOR, is a virtual on-screen control specifically designed for VoiceOver users to go further, to take you to more options, more in depth. You can read what's on the screen, you can interact with content, you can change settings, and the rotor is customizable. You can go into settings, accessibility, VoiceOver, and rotor, and you can customize the rotor items so that what is on the rotor is up to you. You can delete things you don't want, remove them from the rotor, add them back in later. You can add new things to the rotor, and you can even reorder the order of items that are on the rotor. And in addition to that, there are some items that just appear on the rotor automatically when they're needed. There's no need to worry about adding them, and they cannot be removed. They appear when they're needed because the rotor is dynamic and it's context aware, meaning it changes depending on what you are doing. Now, To use the rotor, you place 2 fingers on the screen and rotate them either clockwise or counterclockwise as if you were turning a dial. This changes the rotor setting. Once you've set the rotor to your desired setting, you swipe up or down with 1 finger to change the value or to work within the confines of whatever you've set on that rotor. Let me demonstrate. If we right now swipe up with 1 finger on the home screen, the rotor by default is set to custom actions or actions. So if I tap on an app,
App Store.
okay,
Double tap to open.
and I swipe up or down with 1 finger,
Edit mode. Activate default.
there are 2 actions. Edit mode, which allows me to get into the jiggle mode where I can rearrange and remove apps and so on. And then activate, which is the default when you double tap. So either one, you would just double tap to activate it. But if I rotate 2 fingers now on the screen, I'm going to change the rotor setting from actions to something else.
Characters. Words. Containers. Headings. Vertical navigation. Toggle live regions and announcements. Live recognition. Actions. Activate.
And I'm back to actions. And I can go to the left to turn it the other way.
Live toggle heading. Contain words. Characters.
Now we're on characters. Now I'm on the App Store icon. If I swipe down with 1 finger
Cap A P P.
repeatedly,
Papa.
and it even gives the phonetics,
Space. Cap S T O R E.
swipe up with 1 finger,
E-R-O-T. Cap S.
and I'm reading it
Sierra.
backwards. So we're navigating by character because I set the rotor to characters. If I move it again with 2 fingers to the right,
Words.
now we can read up and down with 1 finger.
App Store.
Okay, so that's how you do that. And again,
Actions.
it will default to actions on the home screen, and that's where we can edit the apps and so forth. But I want to show you that the rotor options change depending on where you are. So if we go into Notes,
Clock. Mail. Map. Weather. Notes.
and I actually go into a note as if I want to type or edit the note,
VO 2000.
I'll double tap on this note.
VO 2024 announcement. August 27th.
Now I'm inside the note. There's a back button at the upper left of the screen,
TTJ. Back button.
but I'll tap the middle,
Note. iPhone and VoiceOver.
and I'm going to double tap to open the edit field.
Note. Text field is editing.
And if I repeatedly double tap, it toggles me from the beginning to the end of the edit field,
Insertion point at start.
and back, and
Insertion point at end.
back.
Insertion point at start.
Now I want to show you my rotor options when I turn 2 fingers.
Characters. Words. Lines.
We have lines, so we can move line by line.
Text selection.
Text selection,
Swipe right to expand selection. Swipe left to shrink selection.
and it actually tells you how to do that. You can swipe up or down with 1 finger to change the value of what you're selecting,
Word selection. Lines. Word character selection.
and then swipe right or left. And then we keep turning the rotor now.
Screen recognition. Containers.
Containers are virtual parts of the screen.
Headings.
Headings, very useful for websites.
Vertical navigation.
Vertical navigation, very useful in the calendar or other places. It takes you to the item directly above or below the current item.
Typing mode. Direct touch typing.
Typing mode.
Toggle live regions and live recognition. Edit.
There's an edit rotor in the Notes app.
Links.
Links for the various links within my note.
Misspelled words.
Misspelled words, I can,
Swipe left or right to choose a replacement, then double tap to insert.
and it tells you how to do that. And again, if I look in some of these like edit,
Edit. Live recognition. Edit.
swipe up or down with 1 finger,
Select. Paste. Select all. Make checklist item. Set not bold. Set italic. Set underline. Set strike through. Insert drawing. Scan text. Select.
but again, if I go over here,
Links. Miss action. Characters. Word.
Oh, actions?
Action, add link. Activate.
Okay,
Default.
now.
Character. Word. Lines.
lines.
VO 2024 announcement. 17 point. Not bold. System font regular.
Just swiping down to read line by line.
Mail. It's the time of year once again. Time to. Body. Indentation level 0. Register for our free voiceover. In and out. Course exclamation mark.
Okay, we'll go back,
254 TTJ. Back TTJ. Back
and we'll go
button.
home. Now,
Notes.
if you want more practice using VoiceOver, what we would encourage you to do is to go to Settings,
Home. Wow. Settings. Settings.
Go to Accessibility.
Accessibility. Heading.
Go to Voiceover.
Personalized vision. Voiceover. On. Voiceover. Switched button. On.
And swipe to the right for one of these practice options. Let me show you.
Tap to learn. Voiceover practice. Button.
With VoiceOver Practice, you can quickly try anything you want on the screen, and it will define it for you without affecting what's on the screen. Let me demonstrate.
Voiceover practice. Heading. Done. Button. Practice voiceover gestures, commands, and typing in this area. Select the Done button in the top right corner and double tap to exit. One finger swipe right. Move to next item. One finger swipe down. Next rotor item. Two finger rotate clockwise. Next rotor.
See how that works? And when we're done, we tap the upper right corner one time to bring focus to the Done button.
Done button.
And then double tap. That's VoiceOver.
Voiceover practice.
Practice.
Button.
The next one.
Voiceover tutorial. Button.
I highly recommend this. This will actually walk you through a guided tour of how to use VoiceOver with your iPhone. So I really encourage you to try that out. Again, that's under Settings, Accessibility, and VoiceOver. And there's VoiceOver Practice, and there's VoiceOver Tutorial. The other thing you can do is swipe to the right until you hear commands.
Speak, voice, verbose, audio, commands, button.
And under commands, you can actually read item by item all of the touch gestures, keyboard commands, and more available to you on your iPhone. And I would highly encourage you to do that as well, because it's another way you can get the most current list right on board your device of every command. And finally, the iPhone user guide, or iPad, or Apple TV, Apple Watch, whatever device you happen to be using, is available from Apple. And I encourage you to use your Safari web browser or any favorite web browser. Do a Google search for Apple Support iPhone User Guide or Apple Support iPad User Guide, whatever it is, and then that ought to be the very first result. You can also use Apple Books if you're comfortable that way. Download the user guide. There is an entire section on accessibility features, including VoiceOver. I recommend you read that section first and then go back and read the rest of the guide. There's no possible way that any of these tutorials can cover all the information, and that user guide is your friend, believe me. And finally, I want to talk about one last gesture known as the magic tap. It is a 2-finger double tap. It's very useful in many cases. If you get a phone call, you can 2-finger double tap to answer the call. While you're on the phone, you can 2-finger double tap or magic tap to end the call. In voice memos, you can start and pause or stop the recording of a voice memo, take pictures in the camera. It is a great feature, and whenever you're not in any other app, it will be used to start or pause media such as the last played podcast or music such as our royalty-free outro.
A person hold.
I want to thank you so much for tuning in today to Getting Started with VoiceOver and the iPhone. From TTJ, this is Trainer Matt. Please join us for our classes, both free and paid, so that we can continue to help you to best learn how to use your devices with VoiceOver. God bless you, and see you next time. Take care, everybody. Visit us at www.ttjtech.biz. Thanks for joining us, everybody.